Hello everyone! I am trying a new camera angle. I bought a tripod thingy and I can't find it. It's the story of my life. We live in a 350 square foot house and things go missing because everything's just squeezed, squished, stacked. I probably put it somewhere I wouldn't lose it, and of course now I can't find it, so eventually I will find it. Yeah, I'm very glad to see everyone here today. I'm happy to be doing this video once again. Life in Manitoba is still cold. It didn't really snow today, but it rained and north wind, and it's a very weird spring here. I'm so not used to it. Like I mentioned, this is my second summer back in Manitoba after living in the Okanagan for 2 years and then traveling British Columbia for almost a year. So I'm not used to this cold weather. I got used to the nice warm British Columbia weather. Even though we're in Canada, for half of you guys watching out there, Manitoba is a lot different than British Columbia. It's a lot different. Summer starts here probably this weekend is supposedly like the first camping weekend of summer, which is May long weekend. I guess what's today, the 18th of May, and but really my whole life I think I've seen 2 nice May long weekends where you could actually go camping and it was nice and sunny out, and the rest of them have been rainy and cold and just like this one. So this isn't too abnormal. What is abnormal is the time before this weekend was very cold. There was very few nice warm sunny days, and even after this weekend the warm sunny days are very limited. It's mostly rain and cold, so we might not get any summer at all until June, and then it starts getting cold again about mid-September. So, I mean, really, you get 3 months of summer here, if you're lucky. And when I say warm, I mean plus 20, right? That's warm. It's not like the Okanagan where it was like 40, 35, 40 degrees. That was amazing. I miss it. I miss the Okanagan, British Columbia, Okanagan for that. I don't miss the forest fires, and I don't miss the extreme cost of rent or owning a house there. That was very prohibitive, right? Here our bills are very low, but we don't get much sunny weather, right? Eventually, I'm going to be moving my butt, especially in the winter, down to Mexico, or I'm hoping Belize or Nicaragua. One of those two is kind of I'm hoping that's where I end up. Belize, they speak English, so that's why it's the easiest one for me. But this winter, I got a couple things I want to do. I want to take some Spanish lessons, start that process, just so that I'm not a straight up gringo down there. I actually can communicate with the locals. And you know, moving south for the winters is a health thing. Right here, everybody is cooped up in their houses. They don't do much. I mean, it's minus 30, minus 40, wind, snow. It's not a lot of fun, right? You don't get a lot of exercise. You don't get any sunshine, or you get sunshine, but you don't get any vitamin D. Everybody's just in hibernation mode, right? And then everybody runs like a chicken with their head cut off for 3 months, 3 to 4 months of okay weather, to then sit in their house for 8 months. Right? I'm done with it. Now that I'm 50, I'm done with it. When I was young, it didn't bother me so much, but now it does bother me. Right? Especially now, I went out west and I saw what it's like to not be in that situation, and I don't like it. So I don't mind the summers here for the couple months because they're not too hot, and and there's lots of sun. Like the sun is up early and it goes to bed late, and you can get a lot of stuff done. But in the winter, it's just miserable, and I'm sick of it. So I've been here long enough to know it's time to get out. So that's what I'm going to be working on the next few years. And you guys will come with me, right? We're going to travel down there together, and maybe some of you will meet me down there. You know, maybe we'll start in Quartzsite, Arizona, or whatever, and then work our way south. I'm not exactly sure, but the plan is in 2 years to not be here for the winters. And I'm picking 2 years because I need to save up money, and this old motorhome is just too big and too costly to drive across the country. I need something smaller, so I need a van with a high top or a 20-foot Class B or Class C motorhome. I'm done with big ones. What I've learned with this one is it's too hard to park, right? So you always have to be paying for a camp spot, right? Especially in Canada, there's not BLM land like there is in the States. So if you want free camping, you have to go way up the mountain, or you have to go way out in the bush because everything else is spoken for, right? Here in Manitoba, I mean, you could park in somebody's field in the entryway, and I don't think anyone's going to say anything, right? As long as you're not there too long. But in British Columbia, it was really tough. They're really getting sticky on campers and people boondocking, as it's called, right? Van life and all that kind of stuff. So I just want a smaller van. I'm not sure if the girlfriend's coming with me or not. That's up to her at that point. But if she does, she's just going to have to live in a smaller van. We're not taking this big behemoth all the way down there. It would just be a nightmare to try to afford that. I've worked for myself most of my life, and I was a fool and just didn't charge enough. And with the alcoholism and the drug addiction, I mean, all my money went to that. So I don't have any retirement, right? Whatever the Canadian government gives me, that's about what I'll get. So I have to find other ways to make money as I get older. That's why I took on the personal training. I want to continue that as I age. And this YouTube channel, hopefully it'll generate a little bit. I'm not counting on anything really from it. I'm doing it because I really want to do it. And I started learning some swing trading. And on paper, I do pretty good. So we'll see once I put some real money in the kitty what happens. Again, I'm not looking for millions of dollars or anything. I mean, if I could make $1,000 or $2,000 a month, I'd be pretty damn good, especially down south. It's so much cheaper than living here. Even living here on my acreage, if I once I move back there next summer, $2,500 a month or so is perfectly fine as an income. I can live off that. I'm not going to be rich. I'm not going to get anything fancy or anything like that. But because I grow most of my own food out there, and I have a wood stove and stuff, the costs aren't as high as, say, somebody in a city, right? But yeah, moving south for the winters is the idea. I'm going to be glad to be growing my own food again. I love gardening. It's something I'm really passionate about. When you're trying to eat organic and all that stuff, it is expensive. It doesn't matter how much you make. It's expensive. So if you can grow a lot of it yourself, it might not be certified organic, but you know what you put in it. You know that you're not putting man-made fertilizers or pesticides or herbicides or any of that stuff in it. So it's organic. It's as close to the land as you can get, and that really helps your body, right? Our bodies are not designed to process all these toxic chemicals. They just aren't, right? And your microbiome in your stomach is super important, right? As I'm sure we've all heard, and I've learned that's where your immune system comes from. So if your microbiome is really good and solid and functioning correctly, you don't really get sick, right? Things can come and go, and and I know when I'm eating right and I'm looking after my microbiome and my body, people will be sick all around me. I might get sick for a day, but I'm over it. I'm done, moving on. They're sick for weeks, and that's because their health isn't up to par, right? Their immune system isn't working right. Their body isn't functioning correctly. They're not detoxifying all that stuff out of their system. So that's what you got to work on, right? That's part of your health. When I was drinking all the time, I mean, all that alcohol didn't help my microbiome. It probably fried it, and not eating right and nothing. Like, it was just brutal, right? So when you finish that and you get off that, and now you're moving into a different direction. Now you got to rebuild all that stuff, like that microbiome and stuff. So it's quite the process, and it's fun. Like, I enjoy it. I find it very entertaining to try to do all these things and change all these things and try new stuff, right? I really enjoy trying new stuff now. My life would be pretty boring without trying new eating recipes, new ways of working out, new ways of meditating. Really, right now, my meditation is when I walk with the dog. She's a pretty calm dog, and we just stroll, right? And I find a nice bench. There's a walking trail not very far from here, right along the river. And I find a nice bench, and I just sit there and close my eyes. When it's sunny out, I feel the sun, and just envision that sunshine, right? That energy coming into my body and helping my body, and then trying to not think about anything that's stressful or anything, right? I think a lot of times we think meditation is this turning everything off, and it is to a point, right? But when I started learning some meditation, the people I was learning from said that, like, if you can get like 10 seconds of your mind not running through all the problems that you have in life, right? 10 seconds, that's the start. You're doing amazing, right? Very few people can even do 10 seconds of, they call it nothing, but really what I'm concentrating is on either the sun coming in that warmth, like that, or I'm concentrating on the sound of the birds or the sound of the river going by. And that way I'm focused on something, but I'm not focused on any of my life problems, any of the things that are causing me grief, right? So because I'm not focused on that stuff, I get that relaxation, that relief from it, and that's my way of meditating. I'm sure there's a lot of other ways, but that's just what I do, and that's what works for me, right? I'm sure as I do it more and more as I get older, because sometimes I don't for a while, because life gets a hold of me, and I don't think about it. But once I go back to that, calming my mind down, calming my nervous system down, really relaxing for that couple of minutes, because it's only a few minutes that I'm sitting on the bench just relaxing, it sure makes a big difference, right? I remember, well, my car I have now, because I'm not buying any new cars. I'm buying old cars. I'm done making payments, right? The car I have now the radio doesn't work, and I haven't replaced it yet. I'm doing other things like the clutch, and I got to put brakes on it. And once those things are done, then I'll put a radio in it from Amazon for cheap, right? Some $200 radio. I'll throw it in there. But what I notice is when I'm driving, because there's no radio, my mind's just running with all the things I have to do, all the problems I have, all the things I have to do, all the people that have pissed me off, during the week. And I have to sit back and just go, whoa, 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 calm that down. And then I try to think about something positive, right? Like a lot of what I'm thinking about now is I'm going to be moving down south for the winters in 2 years. I'm going to be moving back onto my acreage next summer. So I start thinking about all the stuff I want to do on my acreage that I enjoy doing, gardening, right? Gardening is a big one there. That's just what I want to do while I'm there. And I want to get the yard looking as good as possible so that whoever buys it buys a nice, clean yard and has a big garden and can live a good life out there, right? Whoever wants to. I've lived there I've owned that house for almost 20 years. So I've had my fun in it, right? I've done lots there. It's I'm not going to regret it. There's no regrets from me. My only major regrets would be drinking so long and ruining my life as long as I did, right? But as far as once I've quit now, I have no regrets in anything I've done. And that's because I'm clear-minded. I'm clear-minded. I can continue forward. So getting my feet back in the dirt, when I'm gardening, I do it barefoot. I get right in there barefoot and I'm grounded to the earth and I'm working with the plants and I'm working with the soil and, it's really good. It's a really good feeling for me. And it ties in with your health, right? Everything I'm doing is to restore my health from the mess that it was when I was drinking and using. That's my main focus, right? And that's what I'm trying to get through to all of you guys is you want to get rid of anything that's stopping you from living a good, clean, happy life. And yeah, you know what? It might take a couple of years, right? Maybe you're in a job, right? Let's just not even talk about addiction. Maybe you're doing a job you hate that kills you. You go in and you hate going there. And yeah, a couple of the people that we work with are cool, but the boss is a real dick. The company treats you like crap. They constantly want more and more and more and never pay you more, never offer anything compensation-wise, never thank you for all your hard work, I've been there. I've gone to those jobs. I just freaking hated them, right? And so maybe that's what you got to change. Maybe you're not an alcoholic or an addict, right? Maybe it's your job that's making your life miserable. Maybe you're in a relationship that's making your life miserable. Whether it's friends, family, girlfriend, right? You got to find out what it is. What's stopping you from being the best you can be? What's stopping you from living the life that you want to live? A lady we met in Whistler, she gave us a suggestion. So she said, if you don't like where you live and you don't like how things are going in your life, then you have to make changes, right? That's what we have to do. So what she said was, if you're going to move, you find some areas that you're interested in, okay? But what your main goal is to write down everything that you need and want from your new place to live. All right, so I'll give you some examples. If you like to travel, and when you travel, you fly. So how often do you travel? Do you travel 3 times a year, 4 times a year, once a year? Right? So then how close do you want to be to an airport where you can fly out of? Right? There's one thing. So you put that on your list. And you say, like me, I'm sick of this winter. I'm just sick of the winter. I don't want to be around winter. So that's another thing. No snow, no cold weather. It can cool down, but I don't want freezing -40 and snow all day. No more of that. So you mark that on your list. Do you want to be close to friends and family, or you don't care? So you mark that on your list. Yeah, I want to be close to friends and family. So your job, what kind of job you would like, would also go on that list. Okay, so I need to be this close to a city because I am going to be a counselor, and to be a counselor, I need access to people that need counseling and have the money to pay, right? Like, everyone needs counseling, every freaking person. But if you were a counselor in this town that I'm in, you're going to be a very hungry counselor, because the people here are not willing to spend the money on counseling, right? I would, if all I did was do personal training in this town, I would be starving to death, because there is not enough people here that want my services. There isn't even enough people in Roblin, which is a town half an hour away, which I am a member of that gym, and I'm on their website as a personal trainer. This is Grandview, where I am. There's a gym here. And in Dauphin, which is a city of 8,000 people. Right? So combined, we're talking there's 12,000 people. Right? I'm not the only personal trainer. There's a few others that I know of. So, I mean, even between that, if I was just a personal trainer, I'd starve to death. So that goes on your list. This is what I want to do. So I need this many people to function as this person, right? And you go through this list and you make your list. And then the places you picked on the map, you take your list and you see how many of those things fit each place on the map. And that's how you decide. That's how you decide where you're going to live. Right? You've already broken down your life and what you want next. Right? You've got all these points. This is what I want, 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 this is what I want. Right? You got a little list of, I do not want this, I do not want that. Right? You just leave that list and you just look at I want this. And then you go to your cities that you want to, that you're thinking about moving to. And you pick the one that has the most of those things on the list. Right? Maybe pull out your I don't want list. Like, I don't want no -40 and snow. So make sure that's not part of the deal with that city, right? But you want as many of those I wants in that new city, town, state, country, whatever, however you're looking at it, right? And so that was very eye-opening when I did that, right? Again, it brought me down to a few areas. Now, I don't know the cities because I've never spent any time in Belize. I've never spent any time in Nicaragua. I've never spent any time in Colombia, right? I've never spent any time in Chile. So that's what I need to do next, is I need to travel down there and spend a couple months in Belize, not just a couple of weeks, right? I want to be there for 4 or 5 months in the winter and immerse myself in that culture and in that area and really check it all out. And then the next winter, I'll go down to Nicaragua, right? Then the next winter, I'll go down to Colombia. And then the next winter, I'll go down to Chile. So that by the time I'm 60, right, I'm 51 now, by the time I'm 60, before 60 really, 2 years from now I'll be 53. You do 4 years, so 57, right? So 58. I'll know where I'm moving, right? I don't have much family here. I don't have any kids. I don't have anything to worry about in this country. So I could move to any of those countries full time. And I probably will. I'm going to pick which one and I'm going to go, right? And that's what I'm working towards. First off is I got to get my acreage ready so that I can sell it, and that's going to be the 2 years that I need to do that, and to get a van bought, converted, and ready to go, right? And it's not going to be an expensive van. It's going to be an old beater. Well, not a beater, but it will be an old beater that I fix up as a carpenter. I can do the inside and put all the cabinets in and all that stuff. It'll be no problem. I have a bunch of mechanic friends that can help me with the engine and transmission and make sure everything's top notch to travel with. And really, as long as it has air conditioning, and a toilet, I'm good to go, right? Now, if the girlfriend comes with me, it's going to have a shower and it's going to have some more fancy stuff. That's fine, right? I wouldn't mind having a shower in it too, but I can go down with the basics, and then I'll be traveling, and that's the goal, right? It's not to, and then after that, by the time I'm 60, I want to know where in those countries that I'm going to retire, and I'm going to leave this cold ass country, and I'm going to leave the crazy politics that are here, and I'm going to jump right over the United States, another crazy political area that's just, I don't want to get into it because I don't want to be part of that on YouTube. I don't want to add to that. There's enough people talking about that stuff on YouTube. But I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of these wars. I don't want any part of this 15-minute cities or any of this crap that they're talking about. Mass surveillance and digital IDs and digital currency, and don't want it. Don't want to be a part of it. I'm going to go to some country that does not do any of that stuff. Or if it does, it's very limited, right? And I can escape it as much as I can. Because I don't want any part of it, right? Future generations can do whatever makes them feel good. I'm Gen X, right? I grew up in an analog world. My generation pretty much created the internet. Well, not created the internet, but has made it what it is, right? So I grew up in both worlds, right? And I'm telling you, this living in a digital fake world is not something I want. It's not something I want. I want to live in the real world, right? And I want to have the digital world as something I do once in a while, Like when I was a kid, we'd pull out the ColecoVision. We'd play Donkey Kong Jr. for an hour, and then we'd go outside and ride our bikes and play for 6 or 8 hours. Right? That's what I want. This being completely immersed in this digital is not good for your health. It's not good for your psychology. It's not good for the planet at all. Right? Us being interactive with nature is what's good for the planet. If we're not interacting with the outside world, the corporations could do whatever they want to it. We won't even notice because we'll be so immersed in this stupid digital world that we won't even see what they're doing. Oops. Ah. Oops. Sorry about that. Very sorry about that. Okay, sorry. So yeah, So it's getting on 30 minutes here, and I've been ranting about traveling, man. And so all of you out there, that are listening. I'm not getting too many views, but that's okay. This is what happens when we start, right? We just have 1 or 2 or 3 people that watch us. And that's perfectly fine. I haven't advertised this to any of my friends, any of my family, none of my contacts, right? And I did that on purpose, as I want people that find it are going to find it because they're supposed to find it, right? Not just, I don't want a bunch of subscribers and viewers just because they're friends of mine. I want this to be a real channel with a real community that wants to learn these things, do these things together as a community, and grow together, right? I'm a big believer in a higher power, right? And so if the higher power wants me to connect with certain people on YouTube, then it's gonna put those people in my feed, right? Like, those are the people that are gonna see my videos. And that's what I want. I want an honest channel. I don't want to just flood it with friends of mine that subscribe but never watch, right? So that's why it's small, and it's probably going to stay small for a little while. Like, I don't know exactly, and I'm not putting any pressure on it. I'm doing this because I want to do this, and I'm hoping I can connect with people and create a really solid community around this. I'm also hoping to learn just as much from all of you as you're learning from me, right? And I'm hoping I'm opening your mind to thinking of things differently, right? And you're going to open my mind to think of things differently. And that's what we're going to get together on this little excursion we are on YouTube. I think that's a great part of YouTube, and a great part of technology is that we can connect all around the world. Doesn't matter where we are. And people of a feather flock together. Well, we get a place to flock, right? And I like doing this. Some people wouldn't like doing this. Like, it's just not what they want. So, but those people wouldn't mind watching. They don't want to be the guy on the screen, but they wouldn't mind being the person commenting or thumbs upping or whatever, or just watching and getting a different view of their life and a different view of the world. Yeah, so that's awesome. I hope you guys have a great day. Mine's almost over, but it has been, other than the cold and rain, it has actually been a pretty damn great day, right? Went to the gym, had a good workout, ate some good food, had another nap because it's cold, right? Tomorrow it's supposed to be sunny out, so I'm going to do another part of my roof. My roof's in 4 parts. It's a cottage roof. So I've done 2, and I got to do another 2. But I'm taking my time. I got a job to start next week in Roblin, and then June will be pretty busy. I got quite a few jobs lined up in June and July, so that's going to be a pretty busy month, 2 months. That's life, baby. So, again, have a great day. Like, subscribe, thumbs up if you can. Anything helps, you guys. Comment, please comment or ask questions, right? I have other things I want to talk about. I have a whole list of stuff, right? I didn't come into this blind, but I would really like to answer questions or comments that anyone in the that's watching has, right? As you see, I'm trying to change the screen. I noticed that the other way was kind of off, and right. When it gets nicer out, once I find my selfie stick thing, we'll do some walk and talks, and you guys can check out the town I live in, the little walking trail we have by the river. It's pretty nice. At least it'll be some better scenery than this, right? And we'll build the channel up. Enough excuses. Talk to you guys later.